You already know the surface explanation: nursing behavior, kittenhood comfort, a habit that carried forward from the first weeks of life. And that answer is true, but it is approximately 1 layer deep into behavior that goes 6 layers deeper than most cat owners have ever been shown. Because kneading is not a single thing. It is a biological, neurological, chemical, territorial, and ancestral event happening simultaneously every time those paws press into you. And the layer at the very bottom, the one we reach at the end of this video, is the one that changes how you see every cat that has ever needed you, and every cat that hasn't. Because there is a population of cats that never need at all. And what their silence reveals about their emotional history is the most important thing in this entire video. We get there last. Stay with me. 1. To understand why kneading goes deeper than most people realize, you first need to understand precisely how it gets encoded, because the mechanism behind it is one of the most remarkable examples of early neurological programming in any domestic animal. A kitten begins kneading within hours of birth, not days, hours, before their eyes open, before they can hear clearly, before they have any conscious orientation to the world around them. The rhythmic pressing motion against their mother's mammary gland stimulates milk letdown, the biological trigger that releases nutrition. And during every single kneading session in those first critical weeks, the kitten's brain is simultaneously receiving a flood of neurochemical reinforcement: warmth, nutrition, physical contact, the smell of their mother, safety. What the developing brain does with this constellation of simultaneous inputs is bind them into a single neurological package. The kneading motion, the warmth, the security, the contact, they become one encoded experience. One memory trace sitting at the deepest accessible layer of your cat's emotional architecture, formed before language, before recognition, before anything resembling conscious experience existed. This is why the behavior persists into adulthood despite serving no functional purpose. The motion itself is a key that unlocks the emotional state, not the other way around. Your cat is not kneading because they feel safe. The act of kneading generates the feeling of safety directly through a neurological shortcut so old and so deeply wired that no amount of time, change, or experience has been able to overwrite it. That is not habit. That is the oldest emotional memory your cat possesses, being replayed in real time on your body. 2. Now here's a layer most owners never connect to kneading, because it happens invisibly and its effects are felt long after the kneading session ends. Your cat's paws contain interdigital scent glands, sebaceous glands embedded between the pads, producing a chemical signature as individual as a fingerprint. Every time your cat kneads, these glands are pressed, activated, and deposited onto the surface, receiving the motion. The kneading is simultaneously a scent marking event, a territorial and social claim being made in a language only other cats can fully read. When your cat kneads on a blanket, a cushion, a pillow, they are claiming that object as theirs through chemistry. But when your cat kneads on you specifically, your lap, your stomach, your chest, the territorial dimension of that behavior is directed at a living being, not an object. Your cat is not just comfort-seeking. They are marking you as belonging to them, depositing their individual chemical identity onto your surface in a way that communicates ownership to every other cat in their sensory environment. This behavior has been documented in bonded cat pairs and in feral colony affiliations, where one cat needs another during close contact as part of the scent-sharing ritual that defines social membership. Your cat kneading on you is, in feline social chemistry, the equivalent of signing their name on you. You are not just their safe place. You are their territory. And the kneading makes that claim chemically real. If this is showing you kneading in a way you have genuinely never considered, take a second to like this video and subscribe. The final section reveals something about this behavior that most cat owners have never been told. And it involves the cats who never knead at all. That is coming. Do not miss it. 3. Here is a layer that connects your domestic cat to lions, leopards, and tigers in a way that most people find genuinely surprising. Because kneading is not exclusively a domestic or juvenile behavior. It is one of the most ancient physical acts in the entire felid family. Big cats knead, frequently, deliberately, and with the same rhythmic pattern as your house cat, observed across multiple wild felid species, including cheetahs, pumas, and clouded leopards. The behavior appears most consistently in one specific context: before sleep, on a surface about to be used as a resting place. The evolutionary origin of kneading predates domestication entirely. Before there were cats living in human homes, there were feline ancestors preparing resting places by tamping down grass, leaves, and ground cover, using the same rhythmic pressing motion to create a compressed, nest-like surface for sleep. The behavior served a functional environmental purpose. Over millions of years, that function was retained in the nervous system long after the environmental need disappeared. What this means for your domestic cat is significant. When they knead your lap before settling in to sleep on you, they are not simply performing comfort behavior. They are running an ancestral pre-sleep preparation ritual that every member of their evolutionary family tree has performed, connecting them in one unbroken behavioral thread to wild ancestors whose relationship with the ground beneath them was a matter of survival. Your lap is not a blanket to your cat. It is, in the deepest evolutionary sense, a place worth preparing to rest in, and the preparation is ancient. For now we get to what is physically happening inside your cat's body during kneading, because this layer explains why the behavior is so persistent, so consistent, and so deeply sought even in adult cats with no obvious stress or unmet need. Kneading triggers a measurable neurochemical cascade. The rhythmic, repetitive motion activates the parasympathetic nervous system, the branch responsible for rest, digestion, and physiological calm, producing a reduction in heart rate, a drop in cortisol output, and an increase in serotonin release that begins within approximately 90 seconds of the motion starting. The purring that almost always accompanies kneading is not incidental to this process. It is part of the same neurological activation. Both behaviors emerging from the same parasympathetic shift, reinforcing each other in a biological loop that deepens and sustains the calming response. The frequency at which cats purr, between 25 and 50 hertz, has documented physiological effects on the tissue of the cat producing it, including reduced inflammation markers and accelerated cellular repair. What this means practically is that kneading is pharmaceutical. Your cat is not just emotionally seeking comfort through this behavior. They are generating specific neurotransmitters, modulating their own autonomic nervous system, and producing measurable physical benefits through a motion that costs them nothing and delivers everything their nervous system needs in that moment. And they are choosing to do all of this on you, on your body, on the one surface in their entire environment that triggers a complete version of this response. Not just a physical motion, but the warmth, the scent, the familiarity, the safety that makes the neurochemical cascade run at full depth. 5. The twist. Now we arrive at the layer no one discusses. The cats who never need. They exist. You may have one. A cat who has never kneaded in your presence. Not on you, not on blankets, not on any surface. A cat who is affectionate, bonded, and present, but for whom this ancient, deeply encoded behavior simply does not appear. For years, owners of non-kneading cats assumed it was a personality trait, a preference, an individual quirk. The behavioral research tells a more specific story. Kneading is encoded during a precise developmental window, the first 3 to 7 weeks of life, during the nursing period with the mother. Cats who were separated from their mothers extremely early, before the nursing behavioral cycle fully completed, sometimes fail to consolidate the kneading behavior into their long-term motor and emotional repertoire. The neurological package never fully assembled. The motion exists somewhere in their system, but the emotional access point was never properly installed. What this means for a non-kneading cat is not that they feel less safe or are less bonded to you. It means they arrive in your life carrying a gap in their earliest emotional wiring, a piece of the developmental sequence that completed incompletely. They are whole, functional, deeply feeling animals who simply did not receive everything they needed in the window when it was being built. If your cat never needs, they are not withholding something from you. They are navigating a world of emotional depth with a tool that was never fully given to them. And the way you respond to that, with patience, consistency, and a willingness to meet them where they are rather than where you expected them to be, is the closest thing to completing what was left unfinished. Kneading is not a quirk. It is a neurological imprint from the first hours of life. A territorial declaration written in scent, an ancestral ritual linking your cat to every wild feline ancestor in their evolutionary history. a pharmaceutical event generating specific neurotransmitters that keep your cat's nervous system in balance. And for cats who lost access to it before it was fully theirs, it is a reminder that the most important things about who your cat is were shaped long before you ever met them. Watch those paws differently from now on. If this changed something in how you understand your cat, subscribe. We go exactly this deep every single week. And if you have a cat who needs or a cat who never does, I want to hear about both in the comments.